Hello everyone, my greetings to one and all. This is the ninth and the last session on sustainable economic development. In the previous session, you have learned about the aim of sustainable development. I am Poonam Vohra from Institute Economics Learning Center. This session focuses on the National Action Plan on Sustainable Development. So let's understand the plan.
Elaborating on National Action Plan, there are 8 missions which form the core of National Action Plan. These are: 1. National Solar Mission to contribute to India's long-term energy and ecological security. Next is National Mission for Sustaining Himalayan Ecosystem to understand the recession of glaciers and monitoring network for the Himalayan environment to access fresh water resources and health of ecosystem. 3. The National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture to make Indian agriculture more resilient to climate change by identifying new varieties of crops and alternative cropping pattern. Next is National Mission on Enhanced Energy Efficiency to improve energy efficiency in buildings, management of solid waste, and accelerating modal shift to mass transportation. Next action plan is about water. That is National Water Mission to conserve water and minimize wastage so that there is equitable distribution across and within states through integrated water resources development and management. And last is National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change to work with the global community in research and technology development and also encourage private sector initiatives for developing innovative technologies for adaptation and mitigation. A draft has been made for Green India to address climate change.
Now assess yourself. You need to answer the correct option for a piece of information as given. Being in the age of abundant knowledge today, the scientists are in a position to forecast climate trends over the decades ahead. The quest for sustainable development will not fail due to lack of knowledge, but rather lack of action. The question is, how do you think that the required knowledge be translated into action? 4 options are: option A, think regional, act global. B, think global, act regional. C, think global, act global. And D, think regional, act regional. Please check your answer. The correct answer is option 4. That is, think regional and act regional in order to convert the required knowledge into its action.
For the economy to have green growth, investments in housing, transportation network, energy and water supplies must focus on maximizing long-term savings in resources while meeting the needs of people. So there are few strategies. Let's begin. First is about air quality. Air pollution has been identified as the 5th leading cause of death in India by Global Burden Disease Study. It is not just an environmental issue but also public health issue. India has laws such as Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act of 1981, 1982 and 1983. In India, air quality monitoring was started in 1967 by National Environmental Engineering Research Institute. The next initiative was from Central Pollution Controlling Board by starting the National Ambient Air Quality Monitoring NAAQM program in 1984. The numbers of monitoring stations kept on increasing with each passing year. Later, the program was renamed as National Air Monitoring Program. Gradually, the network of air monitoring stations in India got strengthened from 28 to 456 stations during 1985 to 2011. Next is about waste management. The status of solid waste management is considered as a development indicator, as it has direct link to issues like sanitation and public health. Thus, management of solid waste generated in the country was one of the priorities. India has many policies related to waste management. Some of them include hazardous waste management and handling rules, biomedical waste handling rules of 1998, Municipal Solid Waste Management and Handling Rules of 2000, National Urban Sanitation Policy, Plastic Waste Rules 2011, E-Waste Rules 2011, then Draft Municipal Solid Waste Rules 2013, and the latest in the list are Swachh Bharat Mission and Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. Swachh Bharat Mission aims to achieve scientific solid waste management in more than 4,000 cities. And the Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation has an aim to ensure that every household has access to tap water and sewerage. There are several forest-related interventions too. These include Indian Forest Act 1927. This was the first comprehensive act governing the forest sector. Then there was Forest Conservation Act 1980 to control the diversion of forest land for non-forestry purposes and slow down deforestation. National Forest Policy of 1988 marked a paradigm shift in forest management from regulatory to participatory. It implied a shift from the revenue-oriented forest management to conservation-oriented management. This policy laid the foundation of involvement of local communities in management of forest in the country. So participatory initiatives like joint forest management was in practice mainly because of people-oriented approach of this policy. Next is biodiversity. To recognize and emphasize the local and global values of biodiversity in India, the country has signed and ratified several international conventions. India is a party to multilateral environment agreements and international conventions related to wildlife conservation, endangered species of wild fauna and flora, conservation of natural resources, of Whaling Commission, UNESCO, World Heritage Committee, and so on. In order to maximize long-term savings in resources, there are various policy implications for a number of sectors. But here, the focus will be on few most important sectors and its policies. So let us begin. First is coal. It will remain the major source of energy. So thermal plants that use coal need to undergo massive technological changes if they are to remain sustainable, which will require regulatory intervention. So there will be renovation, modernization, research and development in this sector to get a major boost. Next is oil and gas sector. Here also disclosure of energy usage and carbon emissions will be encouraged. Exploration and production contracts will include tax incentives for energy saving. For oil and gas sector, an integrated fuel transport policy needs to be created. So far as renewables are concerned, India needs to strengthen and upgrade its solar R&D and manufacturing capabilities in order to achieve low-cost manufacturing and capitalize on the advantages of solar power. Though there are policy implications for all kinds of infrastructure, but let us focus on electric mobility. Electric vehicles as a green growth intervention yield multiple benefits, including energy security, job creation through technology innovation and local manufacturing, and reduced local air pollution. So Government of India has recently announced the faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles in India scheme, which is a step in the right direction. With respect to buildings, new stock needs to be built on the principles of green buildings so that social, environmental and economic benefits can be accrued. So measures need to be taken to make the existing building stock energy water efficient. And all the new construction should comply with Energy Conservation Building Code. This has to be ensured. As water is an important resource, integrated water resource management needs to be explored for water conservation using rainwater harvesting and groundwater recharge, as well as regeneration of lakes and ponds in the river basin catchment. Water use efficiency can be enhanced in irrigated agriculture by increasing the output per unit of water or reducing loss of water to unusable sinks, or reducing water degradation and reallocating water to higher priority uses. There are so many other policy initiatives apart from what has been mentioned here. So far as forests are concerned, linkages need to be established between research institutes, state forest departments and private sector in order to produce good quality planting material. For that, joint forest management institutions need to be strengthened through establishing strong linkages with gram panchayats and allocation of green funds. Apart from this, there are various policy initiatives relating to biodiversity, waste management, irrigation, air quality, clean fuel, agricultural sector, transportation sector, hydropower, nuclear power distribution and so on. To sum up, there is a greater need for engagement between government, research and academia, non-profit organizations and the private sector to support implementation of green growth strategies.
I hope you have understood the National Action Plan for Sustainable Development. With this, the session comes to an end. Also, the chapter on sustainable development gets complete. In these 9 sessions, you have understood about managing resources, status of coal, oil and nuclear energy, impact of development on environment comprising of water, impact on climate comprising of global warming and ozone layer, impact of development on resources like land use, forests and biodiversity, and then the sustainable development aim, and finally action plan for sustainable development. In these 9 sessions, though you have answered questions, but these are very basic. You need to answer all the questions as given in the assignments. The next session would be on a comparison of three nations, that is India, China and Pakistan, so far as their developmental strategies are concerned. Till then, keep learning, keep reading and keep updating yourself. Thank you.